All right, guys, welcome to another week of the Weeks in Tavern. This week, super exciting. We got The War Within Early Access releasing, so we'll be talking about that as well as some big Kata news. More Kata stuff coming shortly, it sounds like. Hando, what have you been up to in WoW this week?
I just recently downloaded The War Within. I updated some storage on my PC. Getting into that, messing around with that. I got my wife into playing it a little bit more also.
Oh,
And I got a few new bosses on Heroic this week with my guild. We set up a new schedule so that we can have a little bit more progression. So we
what'd
did
you
that.
get? Which new bosses?
We haven't been doing super well, so we got the Conclave and Maloriak or whatever I think was what we got, but we
Okay.
haven't really been going hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 3 hours of raid every week total
Yeah,
from the
it's
start.
tough to prog on that.
No PTR, so
Especially like you probably don't have 100% consistent roster every week too, so there's like reprog with
it's
people.
it's 70%. It's not good. So
Yeah.
but this week looks pretty good. It looks like it's steady compared to the last week. Maybe because we did so well. We actually cruised through this week. We added 3 more hours to our time slot, so that should be good. But yeah, I've been doing pretty well. I had COVID this week, so they're starting Friday, so that was a lot of fun. It's hard to game when you're sick, even if it
Yeah.
feels like just sitting down isn't hard. Uh, it just drains your mental and stuff, right? It's hard to play. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
that's
in
been
in TBC, I think I got it at one point, and like literally just sitting up straight in my chair, I couldn't do for like more than 15 minutes. Like
it's rough. It's
I
rough.
was just like literally about to pass out if I was sitting in a chair for more than 15 minutes just upright. It was crazy. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
hope
not
you
good.
get better soon, dude.
Thank you. But yeah, thank you for asking. What have you been up to this week in WoW?
Lots of War Within. Finished leveling all my tanks. I wanted them all on Alliance because apparently that's the best race to be for M plus tanks. Night Elf, Dwarf, Dark Iron Dwarf are all apparently very good. So I have a mix of all of those for all 6 of the tanks going into War Within. I'll be playing all of them, but probably just focusing on, the 2 that are, the best throughout each phase. But Brewmaster is one of the ones I really want to play. So I'll be playing that quite a bit regardless of how good it is. But whichever tanks are the best, I'll add those ones in too, and then play a little bit of everything on top of that. Also started doing some M plus in season 4. Well, I guess season 4 is over, but you can still earn the season 4 achievements and everything. So I've been working on those. Getting carried by a lot of very kind people in chat. Oberon, Clemens, who else did we have?
Shindig.
Yent, Shindig, yeah. A few others as well. Like they've been great because out half of these dungeons I've never even done on Mythic. So a lot of the polls I'm just like, yo, I don't know what we want to pull here, so just pull more stuff if we want to. And I just gotta leave it up to them. But I think we've knocked out like 6 out of 8 of the 10s, so I can get like the portals and everything. And for anybody who doesn't know, I guess, when you do a Mythic plus 10, you unlock a portal to that dungeon. So in the future, you can just go in your spellbook and port right to the dungeon. It has an 8-hour cooldown, but if you complete the dungeon, the cooldown gets reset. So that's really handy. Really makes getting M plus groups started a little bit quicker, a bit easier.
Did
Because
they reintroduce that at some point? Because I remember in the challenge modes they had that. If you gold all of the challenge modes, you got them or something like that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if it was
I've
because
only
I did tens in BFA. I just don't remember if I
mhm.
got rewarded for it. But you might have had
So
to do
so
25s or something back then.
previously it was like 20s, but
Oh, okay.
a 10 now is the equivalent of an old 20 with the mythic revamp.
Right, right.
Or Bella was saying in Mop and Wad, you got portals for doing CM. So yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But yeah, I've just been working on those slowly, trying to get the 2500 rating achievement before Thursday. So I think I'm like 1700 ish right now, but a few of the dungeons I haven't even done a run on. So yeah, we'll get there no problem. Just gotta do a few more runs and should have it easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Easy
All thanks to you,
peasy.
obviously, not to Carrie. Also,
Yeah.
shout out to Pyro. Shout out to Pyro was
Oh
not
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah, yes. Pyro. Pyro was on the Mistweaver last night, doing some big heals, kicking.
It's my
I
guy.
love
It's my guy.
Mistweaver. You heal your allies by like kicking things. It's great. It's
This
like
is also a thing. I don't know if
peak playstyle.
this is also a thing that I don't know has happened, but I know Jade West always plays Alliance, and you always play Horde.
Hmm.
Well, now that you are Alliance, I guess it doesn't particularly matter, but you could cross faction these dungeons
Hmm.
also, right? So you could actually play with Jade West for like the first time.
Yeah. In War Within, they're making even more things cross faction and cross realm. So now you can basically do anything except queued content. I think that's the final frontier, but the top content in the game isn't queued, so that's not a big deal.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, mythic rating. We talked about that in a previous podcast. That's going to be cross realm now, and then M plus has been cross realm, cross faction. So if you're trying to do that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter, which is great. I mean, that's kind of one of the worst parts about the earlier versions of WoW is you may know other people playing the game, but you're just prevented from actually playing with them sometimes based on server and faction and things like that. So I think this is always better for the game if you can play with anybody you want.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes it so that the racials aren't so like limiting anymore. I mean, obviously, some things like the Night Elf Shadow Meld are like huge, right? But like, hey, you have to play Alliance or you have to play Horde, whatever. It
Yeah.
just kind of feels better this way, I think. So
Yeah, one of the interesting things talking about racials, I've been reading some of the retail discords, just prep, like learn more about the tanks and everything. And I was looking up what race I should be on tanks, and the advice they were generally giving was unless you're doing the absolute top tier content, just pick whichever race you think looks best. Like it wasn't like Kata where everybody's like, oh, if you're this class, you have to be an orc, you have to be a troll. They're just like, yeah, just pick whichever one you think looks the best. It's like, all
yeah,
right, hell yeah.
they're pretty minimal now. Pretty minimal aside from things like Shadow Meld, right, which is the tippy top thing
Yeah, I
for like
mean,
some
depending
insane
on the
skins.
situation, it is,
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
some crazy uses, yeah, but can
Yeah, I
definitely
remember some of
vary.
those. I remember some of those mythic invitational, like dungeon invitationals or whatever, where they did some crazy plays with that. So
Hmm.
I was pretty blown away by it, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, when I return to War Within, I'm going to make a night elf something.
Yeah,
So I've been leveling a night elf DK.
nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of passives too. You get 2% move speed, you get 2% dodge, you get, I think the other one's like 1% haste during the day and 1% crit at night or something like that. It's kind of goofy, but interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um,
going to be a morning raider. I got to be
yeah.
a morning raider now. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, could you imagine if it was actually like like tuned to be like a really impactful racial and you're like you have to be a like morning raider or night raider?
No,
That'd be hilarious.
You just play from Europe. Oh wait, that
Yeah.
wouldn't work because it's environmental like based, like server side. I'm sure, but
Yeah,
that would
server
be pretty
base.
hilarious.
Yeah. I just love the idea that you would be relegated to playing at a very specific time to get like the correct buffs.
Well, what would be even crazier than that? What
What
if
was
you had
that?
to play like at a certain time based on the exact boss that you're going to in like a speed run,
Ooh.
right? So like, what if you
Yeah.
wanted to be crit the whole time and then you wanted it to turn
Mhm.
daytime right before you hit the last boss,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
could have haste or whatever? You're like, okay,
That'd be amazing. And if something like that existed, classic players would 100% be like basing everything on that.
If Night Elves had this passives, 100%.
Yeah.
Like if they had them currently, I'm
Hmm.
I'm fairly
Yeah,
certain it would
raids
happen.
would be scheduled around having these racials available for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be great. So this week we did our first solo dungeon challenge. You want to talk about this, Hando? Remind the people what this was all about and announce our winner?
I do. We had a little Soli Doli dungeon. No, we had a solo dungeon challenge, and what this was is, we set persons, people, out on a mission or bounty, so to speak, to kill all the bosses in Blackrock Cavern with a few mobs, and then a side objective to kill Beauty with, a time, um, time relinquishment. I don't even know what to call it there. Anyway, you save
Reduction.
time if
Yeah.
you time reduction. There you go. Sure. Anyway, so you had a bounty to do that. The faster you did it, the person that did it the fastest got a prize. That person was Organ Farmer. He had an 8 minute and 7 second clear, and then he killed Beauty, and Beauty's reduction was 2 minutes. So his total time was 6 minutes and 7 seconds. He beat Riani, which was in second place, by 20 seconds, and the play was pretty extraordinary because my personal time was 9 minutes and 12 seconds with Beauty. And I did have some tech in there that they didn't even think of, which is insane. So
Ooh.
like, um, none of the submissions I saw did the old school rocket boots from TBC and then
Oh,
switch
okay.
out of them in the beginning. And I thought that was like kind of a giveaway. Like you should you should do that. But
Yeah.
that was like another huge speed boost at the beginning to save a few seconds just right there. But literally just a few seconds. But that was like a glaring one that just kind of made me laugh and made me think, hey, I can't believe I was like the only one that thought of that. But yeah, we had people using potions and stuff like that, so it was great. It was a bunch of people that just did a bunch of solos of that content, and we had a winner, and it was awesome. And Oregon Farmer really pumped it out. He has a video on Subtle's Discord. The credentials and links and stuff are in his channel on Twitch and YouTube, so you can check that out if you'd like to watch the video. It was pretty outstanding. In the future, we do plan to do these again. Also, the content may not be as hard. There may be level caps, so it may be for lower levels, maybe for higher levels, maybe class caps, things like that. So there's a bunch of stuff to look out for. We're not going to do one right this moment because the War Within, I think, is going to take a lot of people's time. But look for in the future, maybe potentially delve speedruns, lower level speedruns, specific classes like non-tank classes speedruns. So just stuff to look out for, and hopefully people enjoy that. I think I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed watching people give their take on it too. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely cool to see. And we will have some new ones coming up soon for sure. I forgot to, I was gonna go ahead and like try one of these, but I forgot about it. And then it was kind of too late. I ran out of time. But next one, I'll give it a shot and see what I can do. What was the prize that Oregon
Oh, he
Farmer
got some
ended up
BattleNet
winning?
currency. He got some sweet BattleNet currency.
Very
So
nice.
in so in the last podcast, I said it was a little different, right? Because it depended on someone. So like if Rihanna had won, it might have been something a little bit different, right? Like gifted subs or something um, for the same value, right? But I wanted it to be just catered a little bit. So
Hmm. Yeah,
and
that
like
makes sense.
if you ended up playing into it, the Twitch thing just made a little bit more sense also. So
Yeah, and I mean, with those gifted subs too, coming up pretty soon on the 26th, two gifted subs is that Sentinel Huntress pet in retail,
you hear
that
that,
that
guys?
Warcraft 3.
You guys
And
hear that?
Twitch drop too, the Ghastly Charger. So look out for that on the 26th.
If you like gas and you like chargers,
It's the perfect combination of the two.
Perfect combination.
People have been asking for years. So I think it was like an old TCG mount, right? That
Yeah,
I
I
think I
think
read
so.
that.
I think
So
that's what you said last time, yeah. And what I
yeah.
was thinking was it was the one from like Hearthstone rather than. I mentioned it was from Hearthstone. I think
Oh,
um,
okay.
it was like a card in Hearthstone. So
All right.
the sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go for it.
But it's not too late if anyone wants to try just to try. You won't win any prizes, but maybe you can have some bragging rights and be like, "Hey, I kicked your butt."
We'll have to check it out again at the end of the expansion. See what the times get down to and that full Dragon Soul gear.
Oh, for sure, for
I bet
sure.
they're gonna get pretty nutty. The power
Yeah,
spike is crazy.
that's also a thing I didn't mention too. It could the like I said with the delves, so the competitions could be taking place in any facet of the game, right? So for any of the SOD listeners, if it gets super hype over there again, we could do something in SOD, we could do something in retail and or classic, right? It doesn't have to be just one or the other. Potentially could be all three at like a mega event sort of thing, also where everyone gets a prize in every category.
Love it. All right. So this week we've got just one listener question. This one's from Vogue. This one came in on my YouTube. What are good gold farms for blood DKs? This is in Cata Classic. With the WoW token being 21k gold. That's got to be on Europe, right? I don't think the NA one's 21k.
Last I checked, ours was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
I mean, it could have spiked
Europe's
easily
always
with.
higher though.
I mean, it could have easily spiked also though, right? Because of like the War Within coming out in
Hmm.
like days. But yeah, that's probably
Yeah. Yeah, 20 paying 22 gold per mastery food and me raid logging, my gold is quickly dwindling to 0. So my first suggestion would be don't buy mastery food. Haste food's better and cheaper. So I mean that's an easy fix. Save some gold right there. Uh as far as gold farms though, my favorite gold farms are just raid solos. So old raid solos, Tempest Keep, Serpent Shrine Cavern. Any boss in there is going to drop 250 gold. End boss will drop 300 gold. Both of those you can solo everything except Vaj, but it's really quick. It's not a big time commitment to solo the entirety of both of those raids. Black Temple also 250 gold per boss, and you can solo everything in there but Reliquary. Reliquary, I think, is technically doable, but you have to use a really crazy strat and it would take forever. So, not worth it. But everything else in there, you should be able to just kind of blow through. For Nagentis, if you don't know the strat there, make sure you check out my YouTube video where I solo Black Temple and lay out the strat for that. Basically, you need to not do threat so that you can have pets tank Nagentis so you can get spiked, and then you have to use an interact keybind to spam and spam click at the same time to try to loot your spike before it despawns on you. And then save up, depending on how much damage you can do, save up 1 to 3 of them. I would probably say 3 on your very first go, just to be safe. But yeah, after Nagentis, everything is very smooth sailing. He's the only one that's like a little bit annoying, but you'll get 250 gold from all the bosses, lots of bosses in BT. So I think that's the most fun way to farm gold. You get a decent amount of gold. Soloing bosses is just kind of more fun than just mindlessly farming, I think. Plus, you get some transmogs along the way. So that would be my suggestion. Just focus on those. Trying to think if there's any other good ones.
If you don't mind doing dailies, those are like pretty good gold, like Tolbrad and stuff like
Yeah,
that too.
Tolbra is not too bad, but also, I mean, that, man, it's tough. Like, I don't think I can do Tolbrad dailies again. I did enough
But
of them to last me the expansion, I think.
yeah, I mean, some people can stomach that stuff though, right? And then
Yeah.
the thing is too now that so like few people are actually doing them now that it's really not an issue, right? Like it's so simple to do.
Yeah, that's true. In some ways, it would kind of make it a little bit more annoying if like actually nobody's doing it. Because
Well,
some of the ones where you like go into the prisons and stuff and you gotta loot a bunch of stuff, you're gonna have to, I think, kill way more mobs than you need just to try to, be able to loot things without getting interrupted.
I guess I'm speaking on like the Grobulo side where it was just like PvP hell, right? So it was like
Yeah.
it was actually insane. Like you get ganked
Yeah,
by
on
like 7 rogues at the same
Gravitas, I
time.
just kind
So
of gave up trying to
I forgot
even
about
do dailies there.
I forgot about Fairlane. But yeah, like now on a PvP server, it's actually with like an actual balance, it's actually pretty simple.
My Prot Warriors casual raid just actually killed Heroic Neff this week, and I was using the Syndragosa's Flawless Fang because I just never bothered to do the TB dailies on that character. So
Easy.
that was kind of awesome. I just love it, man. The Cindy Fang, still an expansion later. We're still using it.
I mean, the good news is too with the doing the Tolbrite daily, there's also some rewards out of there that you're gonna get, like along the way. So like if people want like the ghost, like the spectral wolves and stuff like that, then like the little pets, like the seagull or whatever, you can always get that stuff. The thing that didn't make sense to me is the reputation token that you can send to your alts. You need the like the commendations to buy
Mm-hmm.
anything, but you can send reputation via commendations. Like you buy them for
Mm-hmm.
commendations, their reputation. Does that, am I crazy or does that not make any sense? Like, what are you going to do if you're exalted and you have nothing to do? Like, you have
Yeah,
nothing to spend it
it
on.
doesn't. It's also, if I recall correctly, it's a lot of commendations versus how much rep you actually get from it. It's a very low value trade.
Well, it's like
So,
250 rep, but like the thing
but
is
isn't
like,
it for 30 commendations or
I think it's
something?
one now.
It's one commendation?
Oh, it's 10. It's 10. Sorry.
10. Okay.
Yeah, someone said 10.
Okay,
But
10.
the crazy thing is too, like you're gonna get enough commendations, like just getting to exalted to get like a mirror and
Mm-hmm.
then something else,
Yeah, you
or
get
like a
you
trinket and then
you
something
get
else.
like just enough if you do all your dailies to buy a trinket. That's about it. So
Right.
yeah, the accommodations are the really scarce part. So getting that rep doesn't actually help you at all. I don't think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of confusing.
they're useless, I would say. All right. Yeah. So that's pretty much the. That would be my suggestion. Just solo bosses. It's fun. You get transmogs. You get a good amount of gold. Maybe even some mounts. Like the Ashes of Valar. If you don't have that yet, every time you kill Kale, get a chance at Ashes of Valar. Also get 300 gold. You're gonna give him more gold too, because you can, vendor everything that drops as well. I just am always too lazy to pick that stuff up. But if you're going for gold, yeah, just loot everything, get it all.
Don't be lazy. That's what he's saying. Don't be lazy.
So Walla in chat also has a new ZGZA bingo card. If you remember the heroic one we did a while back.
No
So
idea.
most of these didn't apply to me. We could just show it real quick, but it's just things like no one interrupts or dispels flamecasters during trash. Those guys do so much damage. Like, I mean, you guys have probably seen it. Mages soloing timed runs because of these flamecasters because they can spell seal and they just
So
do.
funny thing is though, that's not even the most powerful spell in there, and
Yeah, what's better?
they should not even be casting, which is the even crazier part. They should be stealing that buff, that haste buff that they get, and then the earthquake from the large male trolls. And then if you auto attack, preferably with the dagger, if you have one, even if it's gray, honestly, because it's a attack speed based. You create these earthquakes under the ground, which have no internal cooldown, and they deal
Ooh,
a crap ton of damage,
okay.
like an insane amount of damage.
All right. Maybe that's the next level play then.
It's pretty insane. If you've never seen it, you should definitely ask your mage to do it next time, because it is completely bonkers. Like, packs die in like 2 seconds, like entire packs.
Yeah, I
It's pretty
mean,
gross.
that was kind of what I was seeing just from the haste buff. Like people were killing Dragonhawk boss in 5 seconds or something. It
Well, I
was
mean, just
crazy.
like they can't AoE as much. I mean, they can with the flame strike and stuff, but it's just not nearly as much. So you
Hmm.
could literally pull like the whole dungeon, auto attack like 3 times, and then the whole dungeon's dead. Like,
Love it.
it's pretty nutty.
Perfectly balanced. But yeah, if you want to take a look at the bingo card here, see what things you've ran into also. Let us know if you get a bingo here. We did not get a bingo on our heroic one. And I've only done a few ZAZGs, and they've all been organized groups, so we haven't really seen any of this stuff. But if you're pugging, I'm sure you've ran into a lot of this.
Yeah, definitely take the time and take the time and pause it here and see if you've made the bingo or not.
Made the bingo. All
Made the
right.
bingo.
So we're moving into the news. Sod didn't really have any news this week. The only like notable thing I saw was they made the Wind Fury, the Wild Strikes, the Wind Fury that the Feral Druids bring. They made that raid wide, and it's like 100-yard range. So that was kind of nice. Good quality of life. I haven't played Sod recently, but I'm sure the meta was very much like in TBC, where it's very focused on who's in your group, and that one shaman per group meta kind of deal. So
Yeah, for sure it was like
the
that. So
the raid wide buffs definitely a good move. It disincentivizes some of the class stacking, where it's like you're forced to bring 5 shamans for TBC raids and stuff like that. Unless one class is just way better than all the others, then it maybe further incentivizes class stacking, like in vanilla WoW, where it's just about how many warriors can we bring. But like if you can bring, more raid buffs with fewer people. But and so it seems like this is a great change.
yeah, if they added
For
this from the beginning, that would have been huge, right? Like BFD having
Yeah.
one feral druid completely for the
Yeah,
whole raid.
back then at least it was, they were still buffing half the raid because it was 10 man, but
Right, and you would split
um
the raid in half anyway with casters, and
yeah.
but it always felt
Not
bad for that one guy that was
Yeah,
like,
sometimes there was like one person left
yeah,
down that sucked. So yeah, that's about all I saw for Sod though. So we'll just move into War Within. I mean, this is War Within week. 2.5 more days until early access comes out. But Mop Remix is ending in a matter of hours from the time of this podcast. By the time you listen to this, it's probably already over. Um, it ends in the morning on August 20th. So, depending on when you're listening to this, it's probably already over. But how did we feel about this? So for me, I mean, I've said a million times, but like the release time like killed it for me. Like this was something I wanted to be in on early, go super hard on, but it launched a couple days before Kata. I was obviously all in on Kata at the time, so I just couldn't really play it the way I wanted to. But I would have gone hard on this if it released at a good time. Uh, how do we feel about this though? Do we want to see this type of content again?
I think because it was so short, like it was almost like less than a season, I think, right? Like in Diablo and stuff like that. I think that's fine. Like, I think adding stuff like this and the Plunder Storm, I think, is good. Um, to get like ways of the game out there and get more people enticed into playing the game. And the great news about this one also is it carried your characters over into the retail, so it's like a good catch up thing. The timing was pretty bad, but I think because it was so short and they understood that like, hey, this isn't going to last forever, and people aren't going to like keep their attention to this forever. I think it was like perfect.
Yeah. I yeah, it seemed awesome to me. What I played of it, I liked, but it was just the release time kind of killed it for me. I know I had, more time. Like I could have joined late and everything, but it's just not the same when, everybody else has already done everything a million times when you're just getting into it. It just kind of kills it for me if I can't be in like early, like being one of the first ones doing everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, Shrag mentioned in chat too Legion remakes. That's
I would
some.
love that.
There's been a lot of rumbles about Legion remakes. People think that's probably what's coming next.
That
Uh,
would be amazeballs. It's pretty good expansion.
I think there's a really, really high chance of that. They probably would skip WAD, I would think, and just go right to Legion for it. But
I hope they skip WAD altogether in like the classic
yeah.
era if they continue on.
Oh
I don't. I
man,
just was. I wasn't a
I'm
fan. I mean, the
I'm
raids were sick, but everything else
yeah.
was yikes.
So like raids are the thing that's most important for me. So as long as the raids are good, I would play it for sure. Also, I just didn't get to play it last time around, so I would check it out just to see what it's all about.
Okay,
But
so what about this?
yeah.
You know how they like brought back the raids like at the end of the seasons, like in expansions, and then they bring back like Mythic Pluses. You go back to the old ones and you run
Hmm.
them as like new Mythic Pluses, or whatever, to
Yeah.
keep it like fresh. Why don't they just do that with raids? That'd
That
be
would
so
be really
cool.
interesting. Like instead of the awakened thing, well, it could be awakened, but just like it's an older raid. It's not
Yeah,
like an
like Black Prot
awakened
Founder
current
Week.
raid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be
I think
pretty
that would be
interesting,
lit.
actually. Yeah, yeah. There's like a season 4, but it's old raids. Yeah, that'd be kind of nuts. I think
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Like their plan right now, I think, is to just do 3 seasons and then like speed through these expansions. But yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
I'm
awesome.
definitely
I'd be
excited
all
for the
for that.
saga.
I got really high hopes for the trilogy. It's on paper, it looks like it's gonna be good. It looks like everything's in a good spot. We just gotta see how it pans out.
We got our boy Metzen back, right? So
Medicine is back, dude. When he was at BlizzCon, man, that guy can control a crowd like nobody else. That was
yeah,
that was something to behold.
I remember when we went as a guild. One of the best moments is, can I hear it for the Alliance and can I hear it for the Horde? Like that situation right there, like
Yeah.
the room just booms. It's insane.
For the Horde booms.
For the Alliance too.
I distinctly remember for the Alliance, it was very like high pitched and like
Oh,
not as
like a
many people.
screeching pterodactyl.
It was more screechy, and then the Horde was very just like deep and booming and loud. Yeah. There's a very, very distinct difference I remember between the Alliance yells and the Horde yells.
So what you're
And
saying is a bunch of them sounded like Banshee, the Sylvanas Banshee scream,
it was
or like
very, very Sylvanas Banshee like, yes,
either that or
for
like
sure.
Baby Anduin. And then
Jade's mad. Jade is mad. Uh,
no, they were. It was pretty crazy. It
Horde
was pretty insane.
propaganda. I was there 10 years ago, or I don't know, 12 years ago. I haven't been to a BlizzCon in a while, but I think 2011 maybe. That might have been the last one I went to. I definitely want to
Oh,
go
that
again though.
I can't remember what the last one I went to. It might have been that same year. That would have been so funny.
Whoa,
Could you imagine if we
dude,
like
yeah.
ran into each other and we had no idea?
That's always weird to think about. Like how many people that you like met and became good friends with later did you just run into randomly and you had no idea who they were at the time?
No idea. But
It's
I have run
weird to
into
think about.
people. I have run into people that were like I've run into in Classic WoW that were born like a street away from me in my hometown,
Whoa,
or like born and raised rather,
that's
which is
crazy.
insane. Like
Yeah, like where are the
because
odds?
it's such a big world, right? Both physically and in the game.
Is honestly just wild how many people play WoW. So when I was younger, I would like kind of try to hide it. Like it wasn't like cool to like say you're into WoW and stuff. But then when I got older and like I didn't care about that stuff anymore, and and I was just like open about like what my hobbies are and stuff. Then it's amazing how many people you meet that like play the game. Like when you're actually up front that like, you're a super big nerd and like you play the game. It turns out like half the people you meet also have played the game or currently play the game.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty
like
insane.
the amount of people that have played WoW, it doesn't really sink in until you start just meeting person after person after person that like has played it or does play it. Like the numbers are wild.
I have always been pretty open about it, so I've been opposite of you. But my wife was always closeted, is what we call her, like a closet
Yeah.
gamer.
Closeted gamer.
Yeah, and she would like, she's like, no, don't talk about that right now.
Yeah,
But
we had
now,
a guy in our old guild that was like that. Like we were like friends with everybody on Facebook back in like 2010 or something in our like Kata and Wrath guild, and like he didn't want to look like lame in front of his like real life friends, so he like would delete people's posts if they like posted stuff about WoW on like his page and stuff. It was it was hilarious.
oh no, I was very young. I was actually living with my parents, like when obviously when it first started. Um, and I remember I think my mom is the one that bought it for me, and she bought me like the bunch of game time or whatever. And I remember for TBC, um, like I had just like bought a bunch of shit, right? Like I had bought a new computer, I was saving up for a car, and I was gonna go buy the game, and my mom's like, "Hey, I'll come with you and buy it for you for TBC." So my mom stood in the line with me for the launch of TBC, which
Yeah.
maybe seems pretty lame, but it's actually like pretty cool that my mom was like, "Hey, this is your hobby. I'm into it."
Yeah,
Right?
no,
Like,
it was the same deal for me actually. TBC as well. It was like yeah, I went with my mom to Walmart. It was like it was a midnight release, so we were there at like 11:30 at Walmart getting TBC. It's before the digital downloads.
mhm.
You had to actually go there get the physical copy. We got it, and I was studying for my Spanish final or something, some Spanish test I was studying for, and then it turned out that the next day was a snow day. It was also my birthday the next day. So on TBC, OG TBC release, I was like 15 or 16. I I had I had a snow day, so I got to play the entire day, and it was my birthday. And it was like the best birthday ever. Just play fresh release TBC all day long. Like it doesn't get better than that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, that's pretty awesome, actually. I love when something like works out like so much like that. You know what's also crazy though? I totally even forgot about like that you have to go like download the game, right? Like
Oh
through the
yeah.
disc and stuff before you even like
Yeah,
could
you
launch it and
you had
play
to
the new
put the
expansion.
disc in, install it, and yeah.
I totally forgot about it because it's something that like doesn't happen anymore, right? So
Oberon says back in my day, you had to download the game with 5 discs, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was actually like multiple discs, wasn't it?
The
I'm trying to
first set
remember.
was, yeah. The
Yeah.
first set was, I think, and then I think TBC could launch in two initially, and then it became one later down the
Oh,
road.
okay. Yeah.
Um,
Man. Remember those like PlayStation games too? Like Final Fantasy 9 and those kinds of games? I don't know if you played any of those, but like they were 4 disc games. It's like once you get
yep.
partway into the game, you have to insert disc 2, and then you have to insert disc 3, then disc 4. What a wild
You
time.
almost you almost knew that it was a good game though, based on like how much story they
How
could
many
like
discs? Yeah.
pack into those discs. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like, hey, these guys are popping.
I don't think there was a single bad game that was multi-disc. Like I can't think of one.
So I don't remember we're gonna sidetrack. We're getting pretty sidetracked here, but this is pretty good stories, right?
Oh
But
yeah, I love it.
there was a game on. I can't remember if it was. I think it was PlayStation 2. It was called Monster Ranchers.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so the game was like a Pokemon style, like level up your
Mm-hmm.
guys, fight them, and stuff like that. But the way that you like leveled, or the way that you like obtained new monsters was like through breeding them, but also through what's it called? Doing like discs, putting discs inside the PS2, like taking the Monster Rancher disc out and putting a physical disc in, and
Wait,
depending on
really?
what disc it was a different monster. And the Final Fantasy VII disc was always like an epic freaking monster.
What?
Yeah, you'll have to look
Dude,
it up.
that's
It's pretty crazy.
wild.
Yeah, I don't know why they've
They
never
had
done
so
something like
many
this
like
again.
weird things like that. There was just this era where they were doing odd stuff. I remember there was some kind of oh man, you remember like Tamagotchis and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think we
They
talked about playing a
yeah.
gotchis last time.
Yeah. So they had it wasn't like quite that, but it was like a similar-ish thing to that, but you could scan like barcodes in stores
Oh, I
with the
remember
thing,
that.
and
What was that
you
called?
would get like different monsters from scanning like barcodes in stores. It was like the goofiest shit, but there was just that era where they were like experimenting with all this crazy stuff to like interact
They
with
were called
like other
they were called
things.
scanners.
Scanners, was that it?
I think that's what it says. Yeah, scanners. SKANNERZ. So that's what we're talking about here.
Scanners. Wait, let me pull this up. Okay. Zendra Patak Ujal. Wait, is this it?
Yeah, remember those little scanner things? I remember those little scanner things. Maybe we're thinking of
Is
something
that
different,
what it
but
looked like? Maybe it is. Yeah, I don't know. It was something like that. Dude, yeah. That was so weird. Yeah, so I was just like running around the store just scanning like Campbell's soup and random stuff. Just it was what a wild time. That
little
magic didn't really
Campbell's.
get recaptured until like Pokemon Go. Remember that? Were you part of that whole Pokemon Go, the early Pokemon Go?
Oh, was I?
Oh, was
Um,
that?
when you live near New York City, or any really large city like New York City, any metropolitan area, it's hard not to play because there's like Pokestops everywhere. There's battles happening everywhere in these Pokestops, right? There's Pokemon like littered everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a city that you're like forced to walk through anyway when you get stuff done. Or if you're a passenger in the car, because you move so slow in New York City, it counted for your steps. So like,
Really?
yeah, like it was like perfect. I visited my cousins in Brooklyn actually, and it was like the same thing, right? Like just like Manhattan, uh, just everywhere, right? At the time when I visited them, everywhere was like a Pokestop and everything. And so I was like big on it. I was loving it. I was actually getting like tons of exercise because of it
Yeah,
too. So
that's
I have
awesome.
friends. I have friends that still actually play, but now when they play, they do a lot of like the splicing or whatever it is, or spoofing, where they like spoof their location.
Oh, yeah,
So I think a lot of people that are playing now still do
that's what
that.
people do. Hmm.
Yeah, but I have seen, um, like if you randomly go out on like near holidays, you can still catch people playing on their phones. Like
Hmm.
if you knew where the old like gyms were or whatever, you can
Yeah.
still catch people playing like near those
Okay.
gyms and stuff. Because I remember walking past some place like a month ago, and they're like, "Oh, I just got a shiny Rayquaza." You're like, "What? People are still doing that?" And it was
Yeah,
with their
the
phones.
the dedicated
And
few.
yeah, so
Yeah, when
I mean, I'm sure there's like discords out there, right? Like dedicated to this stuff, right?
oh, for sure. Yeah, when I was working at a grocery store when it came out, and it was so funny because like people would come in the store and just the way they were like looking around, you knew they were playing Pokemon Go. Like it was a really big store, so like there were tons of Pokemon in the store, and you knew that's all they were there for. So like you'd be like, oh yeah, are you looking for that Doug trio that's over on like aisle 75 or whatever? Because
Doug
like
Trio and Al 75.
we all just knew like what aisles like all the Pokemon were on and stuff, and it was next level, man. That was just such a vibe. I don't know
I
if
love
that
that.
magic's ever gonna get recaptured. That was just a moment in time.
Doug Trio, clean up aisle 5. I yeah, I love like little gimmicks and stuff like that. It's pretty absurd. I wonder if there's like any statistics showing potentially like how many car accidents and stuff there was because of it too.
Oh
I don't know if this
jeez.
happened with you, but like parks, like physical parks, were actually a lot of like Pokestops. And my wife and I, we would like drive past them, and whoever wasn't driving,
Hmm.
like with whoever was the passenger, would hold both phones and like do the swiping and stuff,
Yeah.
as the other one would like slow down and stuff. But I saw people that were driving just themselves with their phones in their
Oh
hand,
yeah. Dude, people are
like
crazy.
slowing down in the middle of traffic. Like at least my wife would like pull off to the curb, or I would like pull off to the side,
Yeah.
like to get it done. But people would like literally just like stop in the middle of traffic, swipe, and then like leave. But like the stop was so sudden. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, people got like really crazy with it. I remember when I was a paramedic, my trainer, he was like super into Pokemon Go. And like between calls, he was always just out of the ambulance, like playing Pokemon Go, like to the point where he would continue to like catch a Pokemon. Like we'd get a call and he'd be like, oh, 1 second, 1 second, I gotta catch this Pokemon first. Like he was actually delaying us getting to patients so he could catch Pokemon. Like it was absurd how into this shit people got, like at the
Uh,
detriment of other people.
it's pretty nutty. I sent you a picture of something I remember reading like an article about. Some people just got extremely nutty with this stuff. I don't know if you want to
Oh
share that
yeah,
or not,
yeah.
but
Oh man, where is it showing up there?
you
I
can put
don't
it over
think it
my. I don't know
is.
if you can put it over my face. Anyway, we could show it at the end or whatever. And
Oh, here we go. There we go. There it
okay,
is. Yeah, yeah. People got real crazy with it. This this picture of a dude with like 50 phones.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, hello. Like he can't even see anything in front of him while he's writing.
Yeah, Jay says people died because of a Charmander. The wild thing is that that's like true. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how many people were playing Pokemon Go, and I mean, they weren't paying attention to where they were driving. They were, standing there trying to catch a Pokemon for over a minute when you got a call in that you're supposed to be driving very quickly to get to a patient, but you were standing in a parking lot catching a Pokemon. Yeah. Um, he's John Gamer.
Hate to see it.
Yeah. So yeah. Back to WoW though. That was a great tangent. I mean that was just a magical time, man. Pokemon Go. Like the world just got brought together in such a weird but awesome way for a brief moment.
Oh, but also like it also brings out like the bad side of people too, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like we were talking about, right?
yeah.
So
Like I mean people just get like addicted to it. Like it doesn't matter that, they're at work, they're driving, whatever.
well, I think there were
They're
stories
doing
of
it.
like kids getting trampled and stuff by hordes of people like running to Pokestops or some or like
Jesus.
running to events.
Yeah, people were like going into graveyards and stuff too. They had to like take
Oh yeah, like at
did
nighttime or whatever,
yeah,
right?
didn't they have to remove all the Pokemon from graveyards and stuff because people were just like desecrating graves and stuff like as they were
Love
trying
that.
to like
Love that.
yeah. So I mean there's a give and take to everything, right? There were a lot of cool parts about Pokemon Go and that as people often do, they take it to the extreme and kind of ruin a good thing. But yeah, anyway, back to WoW. Back to WoW.
Back to WoW. Back to WoW.
Uh So this one, I hadn't really planned on talking about this, but I just saw this. Trolley, dude, the gummy worms. Apparently, there's gonna be some kind of war within gummy worm promotion. So get your thrall gummy
Your
worms.
thrallies
Yeah, you're gonna get
instead of
this. You're
trolleys,
you're
dude. They
gonna
missed
get this pet
opportunity.
in game. You're gonna get this gummy pet. If you buy these sour gummy worms, you can get this gummy pet. So if you like gummy worms and you like pets and WoW, it's a no-brainer. Get some gummy worms. Get this pet.
Or if you like one or the other, that's fine also.
That's also
Just
fine.
buy
Yeah.
the gummy worms for the pet, or just
Mm-hmm.
buy the sour gummy worms for yourself.
Yeah, either one. But we have a release schedule. We're just gonna go over really quick. Release timetable for everything for War Within. So the big date coming up in a couple days is August 22nd, 3 p.m. Pacific. We have the early access launch. So that is the first time you'll be able to play War Within if you got the Epic Edition. If you don't have the Epic Edition, then it'll be August 26th at 3 p.m. For you to get in. So you just got to wait 4 more days, but it's also not a huge deal. Don't feel like super pressured to buy the Epic Edition to play the game 4 days earlier, because a lot of the cool stuff won't even be out yet. So during early access, Heroic Dungeons aren't even out yet. Heroic Dungeons release when the global release happens. So anybody who's doing early access, they're just leveling characters. They're doing normal mode dungeons. Nothing crazy is happening. I will be streaming this right at 3 p.m. I'll be going all day. If you want to check out this stream, stop by, say hi, and we can level together. But
I'm going to be one of the ones that does not have the Epic version. So we have one from each camp in the podcast currently.
yeah,
I'm not really worried about rushing it or anything. I'm looking at taking it slow this time. So yeah, don't
yeah,
feel, like you said before, don't feel rushed, don't feel pressured. They're slowing down these things like on purpose. If you're one of the
hmm
top tier people, obviously do what you can to get ahead. Um, but if you're just looking to have fun and play the game, don't rush it.
yeah,
That's how people get bored, right?
yeah. So in addition to just Heroic not even releasing till the 26th, we got some more dates here that may further dissuade you from caring too much about the early access. So we have not until September 10th. September 10th is when the Heroic Raid, Raid Finder Wing 1, Mythic 0, and World Bosses come out. So the bulk of, well, a good chunk of the content won't even be out until September 10th, 2 weeks after the global launch. More than 2 weeks, 15 days after the global launch. So you have 15 days from the global launch, not even the early access. 15 days to get your characters up, get a bunch of heroics farms, be ready to go for the heroic raid release, Mythic 0, all that stuff. So plenty of time. Don't feel like you're so far behind you can't even play the game. You have so much time. This is completely structured around not rushing people and giving people plenty of time to level up and not get left behind.
How do you feel about, like, they have like splits and stuff. How do you feel about like woo gear, right? Is what they're calling it, right? The Warbound Honor Whip. Is that going to force more people to want to do splits so that they can trade all those gears, like the one character that they want the most geared, or how do you feel that's
Yeah,
going to be
it
handled?
seems like it would just incentivize you to have a crazy amount of alts, right?
Yeah, like
Because
want to
the
play like a
the
ton of them, right?
Warbound gear is a separate drop. Like it drops in addition to whatever else you get. It's
Right.
like a bonus roll. So yeah, I mean, I don't know of like any safeguards against that because it does seem like I mean at face value it just kind of seems like you would need to have an infinite amount of alts if you're trying to push, mythic, uh, world first race kind of stuff, um, to maximize the gear you up. But there may be something that makes that limits what you can do there. I'm not too sure on that.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I imagine if you're gonna go hard, the first thing, like you said, is gonna be having like a ton of characters, right? So
Yeah, good. I mean, those world first race guys, they're used to leveling multiple characters at a time and
yeah, I just
having
wonder if it's
having
gonna
them
be
all on
more than
follow and
ever.
everything. Yeah, like on paper, if there's no safeguard against just getting a bajillion warbound things, um, yeah, it seems like it's gonna be rough. And though warband is only on a single WoW account, right? It's not across BattleNet accounts, as far as I know.
As far as I
So
know, yeah, that's
that
correct.
would make it even more tedious because you couldn't uh level like well, I guess you could still level multiple at the same time, and then whichever account ends up getting more warbound gear, then you just play that character. um but yeah, I don't know. On paper it seems like it could be kind of a mess.
Could get crazy.
Yeah.
It's good to
uh
know. I know delves give like at the higher tiers they give like equivalent to the Mythic 10 plus gear with the vault or whatever. I'm wondering like if those could award like woo that's insanely good too, because those are something you could do by yourself. So I wonder if like those guys would do something like that too, which would be insane.
yeah, yeah, I do not envy these guys. It seems like they might have some really tedious gaming ahead, but hopefully there's some kind of safeguard in there. 'Kay, like Blizzard has some amount of responsibility to just save players from themselves,
Yeah,
because
for
at,
sure.
at the highest level, you're gonna do anything you can to get any advantage you can. Blizzard really has to do something to kind of rein that in and limit how crazy it can get, I think.
Do you
So
think
yeah, what's up?
um do you think delves will be introduced with mythics or heroics? I didn't hear
Uh
them say anything about that,
I'm
so
trying to remember. On one of our previous things, I think we actually had a maybe on this chart it actually says um yeah, I mean delves are on here kind of under the early access and global. Oh, seasonal delves aren't until September 10th, according to
okay,
this thing.
seasonal ones. Okay. That's what I was
Yeah,
looking
so
for. I was looking for
September
like the seasonal ones.
10th. Yeah, we should have, I think, the highest level delves,
Okay, cool. It's
as
good to know
far
for
as I
people
know.
that do like
There's so much
more
info
solo stuff.
to keep track of, like so many different release dates and everything.
Yeah.
So and then on September 17th, that's when Mythic Raids, Raid Finder Wing 2, Mythic Plus, and Raid Story Mode are coming out. So obviously Mythic Raid and Mythic Plus, those are the two biggest things people are looking forward to. This isn't until September 17th. Global release, not early access, but global release is August 26th. That just shows you how much time you have for all this stuff. So please do not feel like you're behind if you can't play like early access or play the first few days. You got plenty of time. And then this raid story mode, this is actually kind of cool. This is a new thing they're adding. It's just a super easy version of the raid that you can solo. You don't get any loot, as far as I know. I don't think you get a single piece of loot. It's just literally to see what happens in the raid, see all the lore and everything. So if you're somebody who like doesn't have enough time to raid, but you just want to see what the raid looks like, see the cutscenes in there and everything, this is for you. This you can just go in. It's real easy. You just get to see the raid. So that's kind of a cool addition, I thought. and you don't have to interact with the LFR system, which is it's good content, I'll say, but if you're not streaming, it's probably just annoying. And then September 24th, you have Raid Finder Wing 3, and that's kind of the end of the releases. But it's going to be kind of cool. Like every week, pretty much, you got something new happening. You got a 2 week gap between launch and the hero grades and everything, but tons of stuff just going to be happening. So that'll keep us busy. And then in Cato Classic, Firelands is probably PTRing around September 17th ish, like most likely mid September. So, as somebody who's really interested in playing both of those things, this might be another case where the timing isn't quite ideal, but we'll see what happens.
Luckily, I'm in a situation where I get to kind of choose what I want to do. So, not as stuck behind as you.
So we got another animated short, Illyria, Light and Shadow. Did you get a chance to watch this?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I had a little mic trouble there. Yeah, I did. I thought it was actually pretty cool. I did not expect it at all. Also, so the art style was like really cool. Reminded me of like some anime stuff that I am into. So like it, I don't know, just really kind of hit home for me.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely amazing. And that was the general reaction I saw online to. Everybody loved it. I don't think I saw a single negative reaction to it. And the biggest question I saw is why don't we have a WoW anime basically? Like after seeing stuff like this, Blizzard just continually knocks it out of the park with these animated shorts leading up to each expansion. And it's like, where's our longer season animated WoW thing? There's just so much stuff they could do. We talked about before, like the success of Arcane and Cyberpunk. Where's the WoW stuff? We know they can do it. We want it. Where is it? We need it.
Where's it at? Give it to us.
I still want that live action Arthas story though. I want that one to be an anime. I need Henry Cavill as Arthas and just do like a HBO like 8 to 10 episode series, please. Get it done. Get it done, Blizzard.
It has to be Cavill.
It has to be Henry Cavill. That's the guy for sure. If it's not Henry Cavill, I'm out. Also, pretty big news. Chaos Brand and Arcane Intellect both got nerfed from 5 to 3%. So Chaos Brand is a debuff Demon Hunters put up that increases magic damage taken on mobs. Arcane Int just gives now 3% increase int, which gives you spell power in retail. So these are two really big nerfs to the caster comps, which was one of the things people were sort of raising alarm bells about, I guess, for M plus was that the raid buffs were too good for the caster comps and they're probably just gonna dominate. But then some more tuning happened and uh, I was watching like Dorky. He's super good retail tank content creator. He was actually really high on Prot Warrior, and he was saying Prot Warrior would be even better if caster comp wasn't as good. And now we have these two huge nerfs to the caster comp. So if you are looking for a tank to play in War Within and you're not quite sure what you want to play, Prot Warrior is looking like a really good choice right now, according to some of the best retail tanks in the world. And Prot Warrior is super fun. I love Prot Warrior. Anytime it's actually good in the game is awesome because it is just such a fun tank to play. But some of the other advice I've also seen is just unless you're playing at the highest level, it doesn't matter too much what you play. So if there's a certain class or tank, whatever, that you're really into, you really want to play, just play it. Like unless you're doing really high end plus, you're doing high end mythic grading, it's not really gonna matter that much. Just play what you like. It's more important, that you actually enjoy playing the game, right? Than totally min maxing when you're not even gonna potentially be playing the part of the game that requires min maxing. So, uh, yeah. But if you are interested in Prot Warrior, that sounds like it's gonna be a really good choice for M plus if you're interested in that.
Well, another thing I could advise is something that you're doing. If you know you're going to play like a tank or a healer, level up a few of them. It's so easy to do right now. And with warbands, it's so easy to like have things like caught up together. Um, that if you want to just focus on one primarily and then just have the other ones as like kill some time guys. When one of them becomes better than the other, you could just switch to it real quick if you wanted to do that also, right? But I'm I'm a huge advocate for like playing what you enjoy rather than playing what's the best. So I would second that is just, if you're not going for the tippy top, just play what's fun or what you find the best.
Yeah, it is definitely not to the extent that it is in like Kata, for example. Like if you're playing a Blood DK, is just gonna be significantly better than playing a Prot Warrior or a Prot Pally or a Feral Druid in Kata. Um, in War Within though, it's not really gonna be the case. It's much closer. The playing field is much more even. So just play what you want. If you are interested in that super super high end play, then sure, yeah, like min max. But if you're at that point, I'm sure you have one of every tank leveled anyway, and you'll kind of just adapt as it goes. But if you're not trying to play at that absolute highest level, play what you like. It's every tank I've played so far has been really awesome. I'm super super excited about these tanks. All the talent reworks and everything have been really cool that I've seen. And I'm personally going to be playing all the tanks a little bit and then kind of focusing on Brewmaster and whatever the meta tank is or the two meta tanks are. Is kind of mentioned Dorky already too, but some other tank content creators you can check out are Tactics and Quasi. Make sure you check them out. I personally don't know enough about retail to be making videos about it yet. It's just kind of a policy I have. I don't make videos about things I don't know about. So I feel like that's a pretty good way to go. But Dorky, absolute gamer, retail tank, great info, tactics, gamer tank, tons of good retail info. Quasi, he does a lot of like M plus stuff, but he also does a lot of UI guides and just more general guides. So you can look to him for like some of that stuff. Dorky and Tactics are definitely much higher level players, but Quasi has some good info too, and he has some more like dungeon deep dive kind of stuff, and just like really good add-on advice and things like that. So these are the three guys that I've been watching. All really good content, and if if you're looking for some retail tank resources, these are the guys I have found and I would recommend.
I definitely really enjoy Quasi's content, and then Tactics is like one that hits home to me. My first, like all my realm firsts and stuff through TBC and um, Wrath of the Lich King were on my bear druid named Tactic, and it had literally no like connection between the two of us. But I just thought it was pretty hilarious, and I was like, "Hey, this guy probably knows his shit." Sounds like a
just
guy
based
that
on the
knows some
name,
shit.
yeah, for
No, but
sure.
then I just looked him up, and I was like, "Wow, this is like, yeah, he's pretty fucking nuts."
Yep.
Excuse my language there.
All right. So the final thing we got is Kata. Uh, just a really short thing. Basically, it's now the Firelands patch is on the encrypted vendor servers. This is just something. It's like a somewhat late stage thing that happens like shortly before it'll go on PTR. But probably in the next month, we can expect it to be on PTR and testing Firelands. Like I said, though, that does not align super well with some of the retail stuff going on. So that's a little unfortunate. But we'll be playing a lot of WoW. We'll be fitting in some Firelands, fitting in some more within, doing a bit of everything. You got anything else, Hando? Because I think that's most of
No,
it.
I think we could wrap it up. Let people prep up for the War Within, because it is the week of the War Within. This is it. I hope everyone's speedy leveling, many good gear drops, many good exploration, finds. Find all those treasures and stuff that they always put out there for us, pets, pet battles, whatever the heck it is you're into. WoW's got it. We've said it like a gazillion time on these podcasts. It's the golden era of WoW, right? It's the golden age. There's something for everyone. So this week it's the War Within. So let's all get it. Let's get that hype.
Yeah, yeah. This is the golden era. We are in the golden era right now. People always look back at the good old days. They're like, I wish I knew those were the good old days. I'm telling you right now, this is the good old days right now. This is the golden age of WoW. You are in it right now. Experience everything you can. We have so much good WoW stuff for the next few years. I mean, we got Kata. Kata's been awesome so far. We're going into War Within. War Within looks great. Dragonflight was great. And then we have Mop Classic on the horizon. Hopefully, All of War Within will be great too. And then we got this whole trilogy playing out with retail. And
It's a
then we
saga,
got
sir.
the Saga. And then we got Classic Plus coming. Hando teased that a couple weeks ago. And yeah, this is it. This is the golden age of WoW right now. And you are a part of it. Experience everything you can. WoW, you can. But we will see you guys maybe next week. Probably next week. Kind of depends what's going on with War Within. See how busy we are. I guess it will be next Monday would be like the release, the global release. So we might take a week off and then come back and talk about our whole beginning of War Within experience, and that'll kind of lead us into the release of heroic raids and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's on brand for us to take one of these launch weeks off. So likely see us in 2 weeks. You'll
Yeah,
let's just look out for us. You'll see us.
look out for us. You'll see us. All right.
You know where to find us.
You know where to find us. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great War Within launch. I'm super looking forward to it. Stop by the stream. Just a reminder, August 26th, and I think it's until like September 10th, something like that. But starting August 26th, by just checking out my stream, you can get the Ghastly Charger mount in retail. If you give 2 subs, you can get a pet in retail as well. So both of those Twitch incentives happening August 26th and onward. But I hope you guys have a great War Within launch. I will see you in the stream. We will see you on the podcast again in a couple weeks, probably. But for now, goodbye and have a fantastic War Within launch. Peace.
Peace.